Hello, welcome to January 8th Helm Developer Meeting. My name is Robert. I'll be your host. This call is recorded. This is a CNCF project developer meeting, so it does follow the CNCF code of conduct. I did mention that it is being recorded. If you do not want to be on video, please turn off your camera, fall off, and you can watch the video later. And we shall get started. Scott will be doing notes and announcements. Scott, floor is yours.
Great. I'll also put something under discussion too. Uh, uh, and while I'm thinking about it, I know Paige, we were talking about maybe adding a discussion item, so maybe you can put it on there in the
Yeah,
meantime.
yeah.
Okay, so announcements are just the upcoming Helm releases. So we have next. I'll write this down afterwards, but the next minor releases are scheduled for the 21st, for January 21st. And you can see the following releases schedule on the release calendar. That's if you go to helm.sh, the main Helm website, in the community section, there's a link to the release calendar. The release candidate will be cut on the 12th. So that means that if you have pull requests that are important to you, it's Thursday and the 12th is a Monday. So, you know, bring them up on this meeting, ping people in Slack, and ultimately just review each other's pull requests, call in favors from each other, and help to get them in. Otherwise, if they're not in the release candidate, the the point of having an RC and the minor release is so that we can harden it in between. So bugs found during that time may be added, but otherwise we won't be adding new things to that feature. So again, remember a minor release is for new functionality, new features, and bugs and security fixes if there are any involved included. So focus on PRs where there's a new feature you want.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and
sir.
just to add in, for once a release candidate is out, it's usually only regression bugs that will go in. A regular old bug fix will not go in because you once we put a fix into a release candidate, then we have to let it soak for a number of days. So if it's, 1 or 2 days before the release and we have to cut another release candidate, then usually, that might push it out to the following week to actually cut the release because we let those things soak so people can try them. So this is really only for regression type bug fixes that go into that. Otherwise, it can go to the next patch release.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. All right. First up for discussion, Paige, Terry, Scott, Promptless AI. I'm not sure which one of the three of you guys want it, but please.
Yeah, the trifecta. Um, Promptless AI is a service that, yeah, AI generated docs essentially. They are looking to provide their service for free to open source projects. So we spoke with them yesterday about potentially implementing Promptless AI for the Helm www repo. Um, we hit a blocker on that, I think, which is that unfortunately Promptless requires write access on the repo. Um, Scott or Terry, if y'all want to jump in with any more details on that.
I can real quick. I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
tell us how you really feel.
that's how I really feel. I think the tool looks really cool, and if we can get them to have an agent that has its own fork and can make PRs from its own fork, great. But there are tools out there, for example, Dependabot that require write access, but that's built into GitHub and that has a lot of safety rails on it. Um, None of our other apps have require write access, and I believe if they did, we would not install them.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know if I think our plan is to reach back out and just see if there's a possibility of it working on a fork versus having to have write access to create a branch on the repo directly. Because yeah, like Scott said, it looked pretty cool and it would be really helpful for maintaining localized docs and all that stuff. But yeah, TBD.
Oh,
Okay.
there is one other quick thing I should mention. This was mentioned in a past meeting, but I don't know if Evans is on the call, but I at least want to call out that I know Evan's had to run and do something while we were doing onboarding, but Evans had an idea that was very similar to this, that we could potentially use AI for just for helping to draft PR docs PRs based on every new commit that gets made into Helm core into the right, version, into the right branch. It would still have a human gate, just like just like we would set it up for this if we use this. It would just be this seems to solve this problem, so we wouldn't actually have to write that kind of a thing. So, but we could at least bookmark that conversation, whether we use this tool or this project, or perhaps our own thing. It seems like a good idea because our docs, different pieces of it, especially the translations, are years behind.
Yeah, so that was yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Scott. I'd even forgotten about it. So there was a two-part. There was translating the docs, but then the second part was given a feature, the AI would sort of decide whether, or well, try to figure out whether docs would be needed and draft something that could be used for the, as part of a docs. Because at times features go in and docs would be needed and they are just never generated or created. So that would help at least, saying, hey, docs are needed here. Here's a draft of how the documentation would look like. This is where it would go. Then authors would be able to know where to place those docs.
Yeah, totally. And that was another one of the main use cases that this promptless tool is designed to solve as well, which would, yeah, agreed, be totally helpful. But TBD on the permissions side of things.
I got a question.
Sure.
If the problem is the fork, is there any reason why we can't have a forked repo of our own that we aim this tool at and then pull from that fork to the main repo?
Yeah, to do something like that. So let me ask this: does the automation, or does their automation actually create pull requests for the changes, or does it just push changes into place?
Pull requests.
It does pull requests. Now, is it able to do pull requests when it's on a forked repository, no matter whether we maintain it or them? Or does it have to do pull requests on the main?
I didn't even think about what Webb suggested, so
Okay.
we didn't ask. I guess we
Okay.
should. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a great suggestion and good question there. Okay.
A forked repo is really just a regular repo. You can do pull requests to the fork, and then once they're merged on the fork, you can pull them into the upstream repo. I mean, this is how I live. I have a fork of the upstream, and then I create a clone of the fork, and I work in my clone, and I pull things to the fork, and then I pull things from the fork to the upstream. So this is just another case of that.
Yeah, we'll ask him. Good idea.
Okay. All right. Next up, page CNCF Tech Docs analysis.
Yeah, more doc stuff real quick. So this is late breaking. About 15 minutes ago, this got merged. So the CNCF Tech Docs team, they have templates for these things called analyses, and historically they've run an analysis on the technical documentation websites for a variety of projects in the CNCF ecosystem. Nowadays, they're really hoping that those are more community led. So they're looking to recruit people within the projects to please do your own analyses. So that's what this is. There's 3 pages. There's the analysis itself. There's the implementation doc, which provides specific suggestions for addressing some of the issues raised in the analysis. And then there is a issues page, which outlines what the specific GitHub issues would be based on the suggestions. So if you are interested in that, please take a look. The next step for me will be to actually go through and start creating these issues. I am definitely interested in feedback in this. on this, for your thoughts on this. I'll be sharing everything more broadly as well in the Helm Dev channel and all of that. So definitely looking to keep people in the loop, and it's not sort of just full steam ahead without any feedback or contribution. So yeah, just wanted to share that here, that this was kind of a carryover from late last year, but it was reviewed and merged by the CNCF team.
Awesome. Thank you, Paige. All right, Scott, roadmap ideas for release V2.
Yeah. This is a quick note.
What's V2? Just for I'm blanking personally.
Yeah, so you know how Matt Farina added for Helm 4 some versioning. Actually, I think we already, never mind. We already had V1 for releases. But basically for charts V3, we're going to need a new version of the release object. I know Evans is working on that right now. And the reason I'm mentioning that, or at least, like doing some of the beginnings of that stuff, and this is all according to the plan that like Matt had already mentioned way back. But I'm mentioning this right now because there's a couple of things that I think we might want to like be thinking about in terms of like a roadmap. Not that we necessarily have to commit to, but one was what was brought up more recently about release secrets getting gigantic and potentially splitting them into multiples. And there are several issues about that. There's two hips on this. There was a pull request. What we don't have that I'm aware of right now is some sort of a way to like say, hey, I want to target release V2 or charts V3. And I was just wondering if maybe we wanted some sort of a of a label on our, issues or something like that, or just some other easy way to say, hey, we know that we're trying to target these upcoming new things that are coming out.
Is that a milestone?
Matt, you're on mute.
A milestone is usually a point in time. I don't know if this stuff's going to roll into a single milestone because it's going to be experimental for a while, and we will alter it over the course of time and add features and make changes. So milestone, a label sounds fine.
Okay, thanks. That was it for that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another ambiguous one from Scott. A quick announcement I forgot to mention.
Well, I wrote it up above. Basically, I forgot to note. I know that it was already announced that Terry was voted in as a core maintainer. The I think the day before New Year's Eve, Evans was voted in as well, and so Evans joins Terry as like the last two core maintainers added for 2025. So congrats, and welcome, and thank you.
Awesome. Webb, you are typing your discussion item in as we speak, but I will let you.
As long as we got a moment, this was something that I put on the list back in December, and unfortunately, I missed the first half of the meeting when you guys discussed it. So I watched the recording, but I wanted to get a sense of the team again. There's some functionality in the Helm CLI around setting up repositories for charts, and it's all HTTP based. And now that we've got a lot of interest in OCI repositories, I was wondering whether there was any interest in extending the functionality so that the repositories would work with either OCI-based repositories or HTTP-based repositories. And I pointed in the agenda to an open issue where somebody had brought this up, and there was some discussion. And in fact, I think Andrew Block went off and did an initial pass at an implementation or a proof of concept or something, and then it languished. So it's all ground that we've covered, but it's not going anywhere anymore. And my team has an interest in having this functionality available. And so I was wondering whether there was a reason why this died, or what. The conclusion of the last developers team was that I should go ahead and write a HIP for this, and I'm happy to do that as long as this is a viable thing. Andrew had brought up some concerns about this being some sort of a custom extension to OCI, and I was just wondering whether that's a blocker or whether, what the level of interest is in this stuff.
Can you jog our memory and put the link to the issue or in chat? That would be awesome.
Yeah, let me fish it out of the agenda here. Copy the link. Come on, Google.
All right. I will ask while he's doing that real quick. Do we have any more discussion items that need to be added to our agenda? Okay. No. All right. We had it added. So we'll go on to hip review. Andrew Shoel.
Shoal.
I said that right. Shoal. Sorry, my bad.
No problem.
The floor is yours. This is for pull request 421. I will link it in the chat. And the floor is yours.
Thank you. So we talked about this before, just bringing it back up. It's basically the ability to see the previously deployed chart metadata. And there were some things that we brought up last time that that was suggested. I made those modifications to see if those address those or not. Yeah, I can give another overview of it if that'd be helpful. But I also gave some examples of what this might specifically address. Like, for example, deleting immutable resources before recreating them. Deleting resources with immutable properties before recreating them if you're running a managed chart like that.
I actually didn't do something I said I was going to do for this. I had mentioned a few concerns in a past meeting, and we noted them down in the meeting notes, but I think I said I was going to add them in a comment. I did not do that. I just realized. Sorry about that.
No problem. I don't know if I captured all of them, but I think I got at least the two of those. But if there are more, I'm happy to address more.
Oh, actually, you did. I see it. Maybe that's why I didn't do it. I just forgot. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Did you address them? Sorry, did you address them in the?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think this is for this hip review. This is one for the maintainers to take back, and we can all take a look at it. Hopefully, I got some time. I have a few cycles this week to take a look at it. If others can as well. But thank you, Andrew. Webb, I want to come back to yours. You put your issue in there. Hopefully, this jogs some memory for Mr. Block and Farina.
Yeah, so this is the repo, the chart repo search, right? So what I wanted to touch on here is we have two searches, right? We've got one that is what do we call it? It's the repo search, right? And repo search is for Helm repositories. OCI is not Helm repositories. Helm repositories has a certain structure with an index file that lists off not just chart, a chart and its versions, but multiple charts and all of their versions. It is structured after things like, RPM repositories, Debian repositories, things like that. That's where it comes from, and it was put together in such a way it could be statically hosted. You could have a dynamic server, just like Chart Museum's done and others have done, things like that. Then we also have integration. It was originally with the Helm Hub, and now it's with Artifact Hub, which replaced Helm Hub. And OCI is separate from both of those. And so what I wanted is I'm fine with the idea of being able to see a individual charts versions, or if there is a way at looking at an OCI repository, and they have not been good, right? They used to have the catalog API that's technically gone. There is no common search API, so you can't do search against multiple OCI repositories or registries, things like that. If there was a way to have a system to do something that could do some kind of search integration with that, I'm all for it. I would not mix it with Helm repositories, though. I would add it as a third option alongside that and point the OCI, point the URL to that in that case, or, however it works, and implement it separately and keep chart repositories to themselves. That's the thing, because OCI and Helm chart repositories are separate things. It's much cleaner not to mix the concepts and especially the code and making all of that maintainable.
You hit the words right out of my mouth there, Matt. A couple things. I was actually part of a working group, the artifacts working group, and one of the things we tried to figure out is the best way to search. And it didn't really go that far because you had to basically create your own custom extension per registry, and that's only a registry implementation, and it gets ugly, ugly, ugly. However, to your point, we can go ahead and provide some options. The simplest way to do it is if we go ahead and we leverage I went back to that issue, kind of what I explained, and I think you also just described at a repository level or at a chart level, pardon me, where you can go ahead and view all the different tags in a chart and then check to make sure that it's a Helm, artifact, and then that it's a version, because you might have more than just Helm in that tag. That'd be the simplest way to get started, which is why I kind of recommended going down the HIP route. That would at least allow us to kind of codify and design what a system like that would look like.
Okay. Mostly I just wanted to make sure that there was interest, because if I, go to the trouble of writing up a HIP, I don't want to post it and have everybody say, "Oh no, we've already thought about that. Forget it."
Any way you can provide visibility to charts, I guarantee is going to be of interest. So because I know a lot of tooling around Helm just exposes features that either the SDK or the CLI exposes. So anything we can do to raise that up without having to introduce another tool like a Scopio or a Crane, I'm sure we'd be interested.
All right, good. I'll take this on.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Webb. As we move on, do we have any shout outs? Okay. Social media amplification.
Oh, actually, Robert, I have one other
Yes, sir.
thing. Just we can follow up on the maintainers channel, but does anyone want to join or shadow the RC release on Monday? If you do, ping in the maintainers channel, but I just wanted to note that out loud so it's on everyone's radar. And then if anyone wants to join or shadow the minor release the following Wednesday, that would be good too. That's
Okay.
it. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. I said social media amplification. No one had anything
Oh,
aside.
yeah. We should amplify. I think we already did. We already amplify Terry's maintainer status. If not, we should, and Evans as well.
Okay. Is Karen on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Can someone get me their handles? Yeah.
We can share this with you.
Thank you.
All right. Assignments for next call. Anyone for moderator?
Just double checking.
If
I
not,
think
I can do it. I could. What's that, Scott?
I can, just so you don't have to do it twice in a row. And if anyone else wants to take it, they can do it too. But you can put me down.
Anyone for notes? Robert will do notes. Issue triage. We have Terry. We have myself.
Yeah, good.
Evans. Let's put Matt there because he can make it do work. Just joking. All right. Anyone have anything else? All right. Well, with 4 minutes to spare, we'll give some time back. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you guys in the community.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.